Dr. J. L. Moreno is a psychiatrist and sociologist, internationally known as the founder and creator of a number of crucial disciplines in human relations: group psychotherapy, group dynamics, psychodrama, and sociometry. His books on these subjects have been translated into 20 languages. Although he is widely known as a scientist and therapist, his greatest contribution, which is the fountainhead of all his ideas, is expounded in his first book, The Words of the Father. Dr. Moreno, do you believe that the idea of God is still valid in our times?
Yes, I do. It was 50 years ago, before the outbreak of the First World War, that I had 3 dialogues about God. God the Creator, God the Lover, and God the Scientist. I sent out an invitation to an encounter with all men. "Come to me and meet me," I said. "Rejoice, I have good news for you. The riddle of our world is solved." As long as I remember, I had before me 2 alternatives. I asked myself, who is this me? A dream? A bit of nothing? Vanishing like a rainbow in the sky, never to return? Or is this me the most real thing there is, the creator of the world, the first and the final being, the all-inclusive thing? In other words, am I nothing, or am I God? The confrontation with these 2 alternatives was the dilemma which ran like a red line throughout my life. I suspect that every man is troubled by the same dilemma. Everyone has to find out for himself whether these alternatives are also meaningful to him. Everyone is involved in this dilemma, whether he admits it or not. We all suffer from doubt and fear that we are passing fancies without any consequence, and we are annoyed and angry because of it. I began to search for an answer, and when I did not find it, I began to dig deeper into my own mind, into my own universe. I began to try to find meaning in an existence which is meaningless in itself. If there is nothing else except a dream-like passing into nothing, at least we can protest against an unreasonable fate, an unpardonable sin, a mistake of the cosmos to have thrown us out here into the desert of this planet, perceiving, feeling, thinking, without any chance or hope to become something which really matters. My quest, therefore, was, am I, this perishable thing, a hopeless existence? Or am I at the center of all creation, of the entire cosmos? I began to wonder whether I do not have, besides the responsibility for myself, for my own livelihood and for my own care, also a responsibility for all the people around me, my mother and father, my sister and brother, my friends, all the people in town, and then beyond it, a responsibility for everything which happens in the nations, in far-reaching continents, among all the people on earth, their wars and revolutions and miseries? Is that not my responsibility? Is not the whole universe my responsibility? Responsibility cannot stop anywhere, except in the all-inclusiveness of all things which exist, in all things which are created, in all things which stir and spread life. If there is responsibility, it must be for more than mere existence. It must be for a bigger role. How can I assume it unless I had a function in creating this universe, unless I am a partner in its creation? I must have been there in the beginning, billions of years ago, and I will be there billions of years hence. I created myself, therefore I exist. I began to think now about the gods which our forefathers have produced, the concepts they have evolved. I began to think, of course, living in the Western civilization, of the God of the Hebrews. Great Godhead, the God who is outside of me, far distant in space, unreachable and unknown, a mystery. It was a construction of the Godhead which was suitable for the time in which the old Hebrews lived. It was a great function which it fulfilled then for them. People were then frightened and dependent upon an enormous, supreme creator whom they could trust and who guided their lives and who gave their life a meaning. It was a God whom they never saw. It was something like a he-God. He, the God. A God who was outside of their world, but whom they felt that he is the greatest help in their lives. And then I began to realize there are other forms of Godheads which in the course of centuries and millennia men brought about, always when there was a great crisis in the development of the world. And then came Christ, and he suddenly made that mysterious, invisible, distant God very close, very personal. He was brought to visibility in the form of a personal appearance of God. He was the thou God. The God was near, not as much a God of power and of enormous wisdom and intelligence, but a God of love and sweetness and closeness. And that was a God which Christ brought into this world.